If you are currently in the United States, an immigrant visa is immediately available to you as a family preference immigrant, and you meet certain other requirements. This reform has eased the green card progress for special status cases, which we'll discuss in this video. If you are interested in learning more about this topic, stay tuned until the end of this video.
Visit our Swat&Vee channel with your questions to see how best we can help you out with your process. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Now let's get into the video and find out what the latest updates are on U.S. immigration. A group of Democrats introduced a bill to simplify immigration procedures for foreign-born minors who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected. The legislation proposed by Representatives Jimmy Gomez, Democrat California, Zoe Lofgren, Democrat California, and Adriano Espaillat, Democrat New York, would exclude children with special immigrant juvenile status, SIJS, from nation caps or quotas that can prolong their immigration processes. Gomez, Lofgren, and Espaillat are all Democrats from California. As a new father and the son of immigrants, I refuse to sit idly by as immigrant children and teens who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected are left vulnerable to homelessness, wage theft, trafficking, and deportation because of an administrative backlog, stated Gomez. I refuse to sit idly by as immigrant children and teens who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected are left vulnerable to homelessness, wage theft, trafficking, and deportation. Children who are granted status via the SIJS program are automatically qualified to submit an application for permanent residency, popularly known as a green card. However, the processing of these applications has been hampered by backlogs since the year 2016. The bill would, in effect, take the SIJS program back to the way it was before 2016, enabling the Department of Homeland Security to grant green cards and SIJS status more or less simultaneously to vulnerable children of all nationalities. SIJS minors from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras were the first to experience green card backlogs in the spring of 2016, according to the Immigrant Legal Resource Center. By the summer of that same year, visas also ran out for children from Mexico and India. The reason for these delays is because there is a cap placed on the number of immigrants who may currently obtain a green card through the SIJS, as well as a cap on the percentage of visas that can be granted to citizens of any one country. It makes no sense, as Lofgren pointed out, to put vulnerable young immigrant workers in employment-based visa backlogs and then subject them to arbitrary per-country cap restrictions, she said. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, DHS, the SIJS program is only available to adolescents who have been subject to state juvenile court proceedings related to abuse, neglect, abandonment, or a similar basis under state law. To be eligible, minors must satisfy all three of the following requirements. They must be declared a dependent by the court. They must be eligible for foster care. And the court must conclude that it is not in the minor's best interest to return to their country of origin. Children from Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala may be required to wait anywhere from 2 to 5 years after getting SIJS before they are eligible for a green card, as stated by the SIJS Backlog Coalition. It is inexcusable and entirely preventable that children who have already been granted SIJS are stuck in a years-long limbo that puts their lives in danger, all because SIJS was miscategorized in the visa system. This situation is totally inexcusable and completely avoidable. According to Rachel Davidson, director of the End SIJS Backlog Coalition, it makes no sense for these children to be competing for visas with immigrants seeking employment-based status. United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, revised the program's guidelines in 2022 and introduced a new case-by-case deferral program for special immigrant juvenile status, SIJS, minors who were on the green card waiting list at the time. This meant that some applicants could potentially acquire temporary documents in the event that backlogs created delays in the processing of their applications. And this year, the State Department revised the way that it interprets country quotas in reference to Central American countries, which opened the door for the potential that some SIJS nationals of those countries could avoid getting caught up in those restrictions. However, the procedure to pair SIJS and green cards is still extremely confusing. According to a report that was published in 2021 by the American Bar Association, the new roadblocks have shown a divergence from the protective purpose of the SIJS. According to the post on the ABA website, the requirement for protection is necessary not only from the threats that exist in the countries where the kids were born, but also from the immigration authorities in the United States. An applicant for the Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, SIJS, was deported to Guatemala in 2019, the ABA said, despite the fact that he had been granted a court injunction the previous year that prohibited his deportation from the United States and that he had been a victim of gang violence in Guatemala. The kid was permitted to return to the United States through additional court action, and he was given SIJS. But he was waitlisted for a green card owing to the caps. The attorneys for the minor were obliged to file a habeas corpus lawsuit to prevent a second deportation. Despite the government's approval for humanitarian relief, Immigration and Customs Enforcement argued that they could deport the minor yet again because, although he was eligible to obtain a green card, there was not a green card immediately available for him, and he would need to wait for quite some time. Dalia Castillo Granados, director of the Children's Immigration Law Academy, which is a project of the American Bar Association's Commission on Immigration, wrote in an article, "The bill that was sponsored in the House about SIJS has a counterpart bill in the Senate that was presented by Senator Catherine Cortez Masto the previous week. As public servants and public policymakers, we have no greater fundamental responsibility and duty than to protect the most vulnerable among us," said Espaillat. "There is no other core responsibility and duty that compares. We need to protect our immigrant youth because they are disproportionately susceptible to economic and security concerns," he went on to say. These concerns include a lack of accessible childcare, targeted crime, and increasing rates of poverty. That's all we have for you in this bulletin.
I hope you guys found this video extremely helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, definitely make sure to share this video with them. We are all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that can benefit from this video, the more people we want watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs icon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit on the notification bell for more immigration updates. Bye!